Hello everyone and welcome to the Gameweek 5 deadline stream. Thanks so much to everyone that did get in here fairly early. We've got actually a lot of people in here to start the stream. Today we're going to be discussing our team, go through some transfer plans, discuss some good options that we're targeting for the coming weeks, how we're going to be setting up the squad, and of course answering your guys' questions, as there seems to be lots of questions already put in by you guys. Of course, we're going to go through the predicted lineups for each team, discuss some content that was discussed by the managers in their press conferences, and just kind of recap all the news from that. So as always, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We can always go through those as we move on. Just a quick update with our team. If you missed the team selection earlier today, we did make 2 changes to the squad, which were Pascal Gross and Rodrigo joining the team. We got on Gross at 5.7 before he went up to 5.8, and we got on Rodrigo at 6.4 before he went up to 6.5. Those are the 2 changes. They were both free transfers, so no hits taken. I think this squad's looking fairly optimal. I'll take you through our starting lineup as well, how we're going to set up the team with Trippier, potentially a doubt against Liverpool as well, what we're going to be doing with him, and who's going to be coming on in place of him as the other starting 11 player. Quickly answering some questions. This one's from Mush Fakir. Is Reece James starting? It looks to be that he is starting according to the predicted lineups. I don't believe Tuchel made any comments about him in the press conference. I was just going through them. The main one was about Koulibaly, I believe. Anyway, N'Golo Kanté remains out. Conor Gallagher is suspended. Koulibaly is available after suspension. He will be on the pitch on Tuesdays. That's good to see. Hopefully that means Reece James can push out into a right wing back role. If anyone's seen any news about Reece James potentially not starting, let me know. But from what I've seen, it looks to be he's all good. And I think that should be good for his positioning, assuming that Koulibaly is back into the squad. I think it should increase his attacking potential if he does play. Haaland starting, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll read the Pep's sort of comments on the issue, because I'm guessing this is going to be a very popular question. He did have his press conference recently. When he was asked about it, he pretty much said we'll have to see when... What was the exact quote? Tomorrow you will see was the quote. Otherwise, he said, when Erling doesn't play, we'll play Julian. Almost sure. We're really impressed about Julian's pace, sense of goal, his work ethic for many things. So obviously gassing up Julian Alvarez a little bit there. And he's just saying obviously that's the replacement for Haaland when he doesn't play. As always with Pep, not really giving too much away. He said we'll see tomorrow when he plays. And then obviously if he said if Haaland doesn't play, then of course Julian Alvarez is going to take his spot. So based on the comments that he made earlier in the week as well about Haaland not getting the 4-week rest, he's not going to start him. It's definitely a bit up in the air right now, that's for sure. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. There's definitely been a bit of interest around Reece James as well. I haven't seen anything about him potentially not starting. I haven't seen any comments from that. The main one there was Koulibaly being back in, and also Kovacic was available to play for Chelsea as well. That was the other one that Tuchel said. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see with that. If any other news comes out about that, I'll try and monitor to the best I can. Obviously, it's a bit difficult to manage the questions and the press conferences. So if anyone does get any news about, any team news, of course, let everyone know. Is Veltman starting? I think he actually might be starting. I've been looking at the Brighton predicted lineup. He's got a 53% chance to start according to Fix. The comments made about him were he's better today, so we'll have to make a decision closer to the game. The issue was a bit of stiffness in the neck. But I think the fact that Potter has said he's better today and will make a decision closer to the game indicates some progress there with him, so hopefully he can get a start for Brighton. If he's in the squad, I think of course you'd be looking to start him. I definitely wouldn't have him on the bench. Perisic starting, right? We'll have to see. I don't think, has Conte given his press conference yet? I haven't seen any comments yet. I'm always refreshing just to see. But I'm not sure how his body's going to hold up with a short break. I'd suspect that he gets benched just because he's very old and he does need that extra rest. If I had to say, I'll look at the predicted lineup. Yeah, so according to the predicted lineup, he's a 46% chance to start. So definitely a bit up in the air, 50-50. A slight risk with Perisic, of course, yeah. James didn't train with the team. Definitely something to note. Salah to Diaz, then Rodrigo and Gross in. I wouldn't necessarily get rid of Salah. I think he's a great captaincy pick this week. I think Salah's a high chance to start, that's for sure. I'll have a look at Salah's predicted starting percentage, and it's sitting at 98% currently, so obviously very likely to play. He loves playing as many minutes as he can, Salah. He's all about playing the full 90 as many games as possible, so I think he's probably a likely one to start, and that's why he's such a great captaincy pick this week. Robertson out for Rodrigo. I think Liverpool, they've got a good fixture, Newcastle at home this week, then Everton away, Wolves at home. Maybe Robertson is not the right time to sell Robertson. He got 9 points in game week 4 with an assist from a corner, so I still think he's a good option. Those Liverpool defensive assets, whilst the double up is not essential, if you have those Liverpool players, I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to sell them, because I think both Trent and Robertson should return fairly decent over the next few game weeks, that's for sure. James out for a few weeks by some sources. That's interesting. There doesn't seem to be too much given away in that press conference. I'm just refreshing Twitter to see any comments from Tuchel in his press comments. I'm waiting, for some more concrete evidence of Reece James potentially missing. But I haven't seen anything to myself personally. Who would you recommend for Veltman replacement with Saliba owned already? Well, I think Veltman's a decent chance to play. Potter said that he's recovering and will make a decision closer to the game. Fantasy Football Fix still says a 53% chance to play, so it's still slightly more likely to play than not. By the looks of that percentage chance to play this week and just the general comments, even if he does miss this week, he's going to be back after that, so I wouldn't necessarily sell him. Even if he misses this week, he may come off the bench, but I think Brighton's fixtures are so good after game week 5 that you'd be happy to have him in the squad for game week 6 onwards just to capitalise on the Brighton clean sheets. They've only conceded 1 goal so far. Ian, a Brentford player is good to own, of course, yeah. The favourite one, of course, would be Tony. The defence has been a bit leaky. They've got 1 clean sheet so far, but otherwise they've conceded a few goals in the games they have conceded. Tony's definitely the standout asset. Diaz plus 5.5 mid or Rodrigo and Martinelli. I think Rodrigo and Martinelli should have you covered, both with ownership and the decreasing the risk of losing rank, and I think there's not too many 5.5s. If you can afford Gross, then I go Diaz and Gross, but otherwise the latter. What would you do with Zinchenko? I think Zinchenko's a good sell. If anyone's got Zinchenko, I think he's a good sell option. I doubt he's going to play this week, of course. And his price is just decreasing. Zaha starting, he's very 50-50 right now. I've been looking at various reports about him. He seems very 50-50. I can't say one way or the other just yet. I think Crystal Palace. I haven't seen too much news about it, but yeah, looking at fixes, predicted lineups, and just their comments about him, it looks to be a bit uncertain there. Comments from Vieira was wait and see. That's on Wilfred Zaha and Tarek Mitchell. So, wait and see is the definition of a mixed bag. 50-50 could go either way. Best 4.5 defender option, I guess Saliba right now is probably one of the best, 4.7. If you want to spend a little bit more. Otherwise, Dunk, I think at 4.5 is quality. Gunner down under. Bro, thank you so much for the 10. I really appreciate that. Odegaard is a must at the moment, especially for his price. Well, he's been in great touch recently, hasn't he? Very good form. 3 goals in his last 2 games. His goals that he is scoring, to be fair, are tough chances. But he seems to hop on the bonus points when he scores, which is good. Yeah, thank you so much once again, Gunn. I really appreciate that, bro. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But yeah, I think Odegaard's a nice pick at that around 6.5 price. His underlying stats aren't the best, but he's putting it on the board. He seems to be in such great touch for Arsenal. He's been involved in everything good for them. He's really been the focal point of their attack right now, especially in their Gameweek 4 match against Fulham. I thought he was immense. FPL Harry said James is a doubt. Yeah, there seems to be some more information that's come out after the press conference regarding some injury news and not training with the squad. So we'll have to see on that. That could be interesting to monitor, that's for sure. Otherwise, Jurgen Klopp expects to return on training. Thiago come back slightly later. Have you considered Robertson in your team? We did originally have him. We unfortunately moved him out fairly early on against Manchester United when he had Manchester United away, and we brought in Reece James, which I think at the time was probably the right move for the squad because Reece James was very highly owned. We were missing out on lots of points there. Thoughts on KDB captain? Yeah, I think he's a great pick. Man City got a great fixture this week. We'll just have a look at their fixtures coming up as well. I mean, look at this run. Forest at home, they should dominate. I'd expect De Bruyne to play. I'll just check Man City's predicted lineup against Nottingham Forest. Kevin De Bruyne actually is expected to be benched by Fix. Interesting to see. They've got Rodrigo. So it just depends whether they go Mahrez. I'd maybe see Mahrez starting on the wing, which does that mean Bernardo Silva's going to play in the midfield? I'm not sure. I still think Kevin De Bruyne's a great chance of starting in this one. James won't start because he hasn't travelled to Southampton. Interesting. Okay. I'll just look. What about Cancelo to Cucurella to fund Rodrigo? I think Cancelo is still an essential pick for me. I think he's still going to start midweek. I'll just go back to that Man City team. Yeah, according to Fix, he's got a 100% chance of playing. He just plays so many minutes for Man City, which I think is important. He's not got the best underlying stats from an attacking standpoint, but he's always there for those Man City clean sheets, and he's chipping in with those bonus. So anyway, yeah, here's our squad at this current stage. I'll show you the team. There's a quick gaze at the rank. 1.7 mil in the world. Quick check back last week, 65 points. Main thing that hurt us, we didn't have Diaz in the midfield. We had Saka there. We went with Bailey starting once more. Didn't pay off. We thought he might have started after an assist in Gameweek 3 and a goal midweek in the EFL Cup. Not to be. Anyway, we move on. 65, not the worst. It was a slight red arrow, 1.7 mil, but there's only 15 points separating 1.7 mil and 350k in the world. So, it was still there and thereabouts. These are team. This is how we're currently set up. So we've actually got Trippier sitting on the bench here against Liverpool away. We're going to start Andreas Pereira at this current stage. Trippier did get a slight niggle in that Wolves game. He did stay on for the rest of the match, but there was a slight niggle there with him. He is, he's getting on. It's a short break against Liverpool away. Even if he starts against Liverpool, I don't think he's going to get a clean sheet. We actually benched him against Manchester City, where he produced an amazing free kick. And Andreas Pereira, he was solid in his last home appearance. I believe that one was against Brentford. He got 8 points. He was involved once again in everything good for Fulham. He's getting into some great positions. So we're going to opt with Andreas Pereira just because I'm not sure about Trippier. He may just get 1 point off the bench against Liverpool, even if he starts just the 1 point. So maybe Andreas Pereira can sneak something. And I think he's definitely a higher chance of starting for Fulham than Trippier is for Newcastle. Otherwise, Salah's on captain, Jesus vice captain, Haaland just with the uncertainty about whether he's going to start or not. I'll have to see. And then, yeah, Reece James is currently listed in the starting team. But, yeah, there's definitely lots of uncertainty about him. There's a lot of news that he's probably not going to play. Didn't travel to Southampton. Gundogan, Foden, or Cancelo for captain. I'd probably go Cancelo just because he's got the double chance of returns. I'd like him for a clean sheet, and if he chips in with an assist, that's probably a 12-point game. Otherwise, I think I'd then go Gundogan because he's probably got the higher chance of playing between him and Foden. Pep said that he missed game week 4 due to a slight discomfort, but that was just precautionary. That was just taking the extra measure. It wasn't because technically of rotation. It was just because of a slight injury. So I think he's going to be back for game week 5. Also, if everyone's enjoying the stream, drop a like and also subscribe. We're trying to get to 10k. If we can get 10k on stream, that'd be mental. But yeah, we're just trying to get as close to 10k as possible. I'll be so sick. Also, yeah, as I said, yeah, leave a like on the stream if you're enjoying what you're seeing so far. Do you think Zaha's going to play? I think he's a bit 50-50 right now. It was a wait and see comment from Vieira during the week. And yeah, according to Fix, he's a bit, he's 25%, 50%. It's up in the air, that's for sure. I think regardless of this week, Zaha should definitely be back for the weekend's games. Robbo to outscore Diaz next 3. Yeah, Diaz's underlying stats aren't necessarily amazing. They're not blowing anyone away, but yeah, I think the fact that Liverpool, they have the clean sheet potential, which is handy. I think I would see Robbo potentially outscoring Diaz. There could be some Robbo rotation with Tsimikas though. It's the only thing. Wolves at home in game week 7, such a great fixture from a defensive standpoint. Also Everton away, I think is a nice one. And yeah, I mean, if he plays against Newcastle, obviously the absence of some attacking force, and it looks to be that Guimaraes is also going to be missing for Newcastle. If anyone missed that, he's going to be out for game week 5, which of course decreases Newcastle's attacking threat because he's an absolute baller. Is Rodrigo a good idea for captaincy this week? Definitely a good differential captain, that's for sure. It's going to be a bit risky going without Salah or Jesus on the captaincy armband, because I think if I had to guess, I'd say Salah's the most popular captain this week, followed by Jesus, followed by Haaland. So Rodrigo is definitely going to be a differential, but he's got a good fixture for it. He's got great underlying stats. Despite not scoring against Brighton last week, he still took on 5 shots, and he's taken the second most shots out of any player behind Mitrovic. I think he's taken 18 shots and Mitrovic has taken 19. So definitely, yeah, he's getting lots of chances for Leeds, which is good. Captaining Jay is just a bad decision? Absolutely not. I think he's still a good pick. Aston Villa's defence has been poor so far this season. They're conceding lots and lots of goals. So definitely a good chance to hop on the Arsenal attack. We saw Arsenal put 4 away against Leicester and then 2 against Fulham. So they've put up 6 goals in their first 2 home matches. Jesus, according to Fix, has a 100% chance to start. So yeah, definitely a nice captain. I think he will be probably the second most popular captain this week behind Salah. Should I play Dunk or Perisic? I mean, I'd start Perisic hoping he plays, but there's always the risk that he does not. Just because of the short turnaround, he's got such great attacking potential when he plays. It's frustrating. James to Diaz. We'll have to see. Obviously, yeah, so just to touch on the Reece James injury news, right? It looks to be that he's going to miss Southampton. I'm not sure if there's any information about the length of the injury. because Chelsea's fixtures are very good. I don't want to sort of knee jerk on the news and then get him out, and then he's back game week 6, and then I've caught myself. As far as replacements go, we could go to Robbo. If he's out for a longer period, we've got. We'll just go to the transfers page again. Actually, we've got 2.1 in the bank, so we can afford any defender in the game. Saliba's there, of course, top scoring defender. I think Brighton's defense is probably one worth jumping on. Dunk, be my pick at 4.6. Good bonus points potential. He's put up 2 bonus points so far. And then, Brighton's fixtures are very solid. But I just want to see more news about this Reece James injury and the length of it before I transfer him out. Even if he doesn't play, as we've said, we've got Trippier and Patterson there on the bench. 2 decent options to come on for him. Will Bamford play? The comment was that he's getting close to being available, was the comment from the Leeds manager. He's getting close to being available, so there is the potential that he plays. Obviously with the short turnaround, there could be a couple of other attackers rested. If not, he's probably going to feature off the bench, but it's tough to say at this point whether he's going to start. I think he could feature off the bench at least, is what I'd say. Is Haaland playing on the bench? Well, Pep didn't give too much away. He just said we'll have to see tomorrow. And if Haaland doesn't play, then Julian Alvarez will be the guy. And then he kind of hyped up Julian Alvarez a little bit after that with his comments. Is Zinchenko badly injured? I wouldn't say badly injured, but he's going to most likely miss game week 5. Hopefully should be back game week 6. I don't think it's going to be massively long term. Best Zinchenko replacement. I think if you want to stick with that Arsenal defense, Saliba is a great option at 4.7, I believe, currently. And then otherwise 4.5 options. I think Dunk's definitely, they're 4.6. We'll have to see also Wesley Fofana, how he slots into that Chelsea system. Could be an exciting prospect. Thank you so much, V33, for the 2. Is that Singaporean dollars? That's sick. Cancelo and Trippier to Dunk. Walker, Gross, Tony. Thoughts? I mean, I wouldn't be too keen on selling Cancelo. Otherwise, Trippier to Dunk, not the worst move. I think Newcastle's defense has been decent so far. They got themselves a couple clean sheets, and after Liverpool away, I mean, it's a decent fixture run as well. So, I mean, I'd definitely be happy to hold on to Cancelo and Trippier if I'm you. Harrison to Gross. I mean, Harrison's still a great pick. I wouldn't necessarily move Harrison out of the team. He's definitely still a quality option. He's providing lots of attempted assists for Leeds. He's attempted one of the most assists, and if anyone, and with Leeds' good fixture, I think it's probably not the best usage of a transfer. I still think Harrison's a nice option. Zaha or Tony, definitely should score similar, those 2 players. I think Tony's got a better extended run of fixtures, and he doesn't have that injury cloud around him, so I'd probably be leaning towards Tony. Zinchenko to Walker, what are your thoughts? Definitely, it could be a decent move, that's for sure. The thing with Kyle Walker is when Laporte does come back into the side, we've seen Pep do it last year where he pushes Stones or Ake out wide into the fullback spot, which could see Walker drop out. So definitely a bit of rotation risk associated with him. Is Jesus a good captain? Definitely one to target, that's for sure. I think he's probably going to be the second most popular captain this week. But yeah, very, very strong captaincy option. Aston Villa have conceded lots of goals. As I touched on before, Arsenal have scored 6 home goals in their first 2 games. Start Mbeumo or Emerson Royale. It's up to you. I think I'd probably go Emerson Royale, hoping that he plays. I'll just check Spurs' predicted lineup for you. West Ham have been poor so far. Just the 1 goal scored in the first 4 weeks of the season. He is predicted to start. He's got roughly a 50% chance to start. Whether Spence is there or Sessegnon pushes over that side, we'll have to see. But still fancy him as the starting option. Best team for someone starting this week. Okay. Well, I think I'd have to have Gross, Rodrigo, Salah. I think I'd have these four. I'd have probably my midfield four without Andres Pereira. You'd probably have to have Jesus and Haaland as well. Probably Trent Cancelo. Probably a Brighton defender, Dunk. It'd be decent. Saliba would be decent value. Obviously, there's a bit of cloud around Reece James now, so if you wanted that Chelsea defence, maybe Cucurella. As far as goalkeepers go, 4.5, I go Sanchez. That'd be roughly the squad I'd be going. Will Haaland start? It's up in the air right now. It's up in the air. Pep said we'll have to see tomorrow, and then, yeah, Julian just said Julian Alvarez will be the replacement if he doesn't start, so I'm unsure personally. He's definitely, if he's in your squads, I would be having him starting on the pitch. There's no way I'd bench Haaland, because even if he doesn't start, he could come on for 15, 20 minutes and he can have an impact in that time. We've seen his expected goals figure. It's the highest out of any player. He's getting lots of chances for Man City. He's taken tied second most amount of shots. So I don't doubt that he'll be productive in the 15, 20 minute period when he comes on, if he comes on, instead of starting. Sterling, thoughts? Definitely could be a good differential kind of premium pick. He's definitely snuck up the ranks in terms of expected stats. Amongst midfielders, I think he ranks top 5 for expected FPL points. He's always arriving at the back post, which is good. So, yeah. Once again, if everyone's enjoying the stream, give us, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 10k. We're so close. Roughly 9.7k right now. 300 off. That'd be so hyped to hit 10k. Ramsdale to Sanchez. I like the move. If that frees up money to upgrade another position in the squad. In isolation, if you're just doing it by itself, Ramsdale's still a nice pick, and the Arsenal defense is still fairly strong. It just depends about the upgrades you can make elsewhere in the team. Salah out, Haaland in, or Kane out, Haaland in. Ideally, I'd still hold on to both Salah and Kane in your squad right now, personally, Ari. Definitely wouldn't be taking Salah out because you'd have to make 2 transfers to bring in Haaland. Gross or Harrison for Neto? I take Gross. Gross has got the 3rd highest expected FPL points out of any player so far. He's attempting lots of assists. He's got a very good XA as well. His XA is definitely on par with his XG. So, one that, is providing great both goal and assist potential. He's played a full 90 in all 4 of his games. Great price, great upcoming fixtures. I think he's a good one. His price is probably going to be rising as well. Reece James isn't playing. Yes, we are gathering that. I think he's probably unlikely to play, or almost definitely not playing. It looks to be that he's not travelled with the squad to Southampton, shall I say. But, yeah, he sits in the team right now. If he's not there, then we've got Trippier and Patterson off the bench. But I don't necessarily want to transfer him out until I see the full extent of his injury, because he's such a quality player and such a valuable FPL asset. I haven't seen anything super concrete right now. It's just been the general comments about him not missing out. I'll keep refreshing, looking at the press conferences. The last one is West Ham. I'd like to see an updated one for Chelsea just to get more news on the Reece James issue. No Salah or KDB thoughts. Are definitely very risky. Definitely very risky. I'm guessing your premiums would be Kane and Haaland at that point. Bernardo or Rodrigo? I'd probably go Rodrigo, just because great underlying stats and a bit more certainty around the team, around the starting minutes, should I say. Ramsdale or Henderson to start? I think I'd start Ramsdale. Aston Villa at home is a great fixture. Henderson is the source of his points so far has come from 2 penalty saves. Forest do have a very high expected goals conceded. He's got good save potential, but yeah, his points are definitely inflated by 2 big penalty saves. So as far as the clean sheet potential goes, there's not too much there from the Nottingham Forest defence. So I'd definitely be going for Ramsdale. Kane, Haaland, Sterling, and Bruno looks good, no? Well, yeah, Bruno's had one solid performance. I'd like to see a bit more from him before I'm fully convinced. But yeah, we've seen what he can do a couple of seasons ago. If Ronaldo does move on or he stops getting starting minutes, then yeah, Bruno definitely gets a lot more involved in that Manchester United attack. So he could prove to be an exciting prospect if he can continue, what he's doing with Ronaldo out of the side. Nico Williams to Walker, a Trossard to Eze. I mean, I'd like to see a bit more from Eze, just because Zaha could come back into that side and push Eze elsewhere. But as far as underlying stats go, Eze's not massively impressive. I'd just like to see some more game time from him first. Keep James as a toothache. Alright, we'll do. Will Haaland be in the starting 11? Well, he's going to be in my FPL starting 11. As far as the Man City lineup goes, I'm not sure. But I think regardless of whether he's starting or not, I would encourage everyone that has Erling Haaland to be playing him on your starting 11 for your FPL team. Because even if he comes off the bench, as we've said this before, extremely productive player, great XG, great positions. So I would not be surprised, if he comes off the bench, gets himself a goal, picks up 5 points. Walker and Rodrigo in for Cancelo and Bailey. I wouldn't necessarily go Cancelo down to Walker just to free up that upgrade. I think Cancelo should significantly outscore Walker. He doesn't offer too much attacking potential. I think Cancelo is definitely one to hold on to. It's surprising to see him being sold by so many managers. Yeah, Salah and Cancelo were the second and third most sold players respectively, which is crazy. Also Son, yeah, interesting. You would have never thought those three to be on the 3 of the 4 most sold players. Kane over Haaland, that's definitely a debate that a lot of managers are discussing right now for their teams. I'd still be leaning towards Haaland, even if he misses Nottingham Forest at home in Gameweek 5. He's probably going to be starting Gameweek. He's going to be starting one of these next 2 fixtures. In what order that happens, I'm not sure, but he's going to be starting one of those 2, and he's going to be coming off the bench for the other one. Once the Champions League starts, we'll see how Conte and Guardiola rotate their squads respectively. Whether Kane starts getting some, benched with, Richarlison offering that extra attacking depth, how he's going to organise the team, who's starting the Champions League and whatnot. And then the same applies with Haaland, I guess. How Pep's going to organise the team. I think it just requires a bit more information on how they're going to set up their teams and rotate the squads just with the increased fixture load. Zinchenko and Bailey to Saliba and Gross. I like their transfers. You still got that Arsenal defence covered. Freeing up a bit of money and you're making a great upgrade from Bailey. Cancelo captain options. Yeah, it could be a nice differential for sure. I think assuming Salah and Jesus are going to be the 2 most popular captain picks, if I had to go for some differential captains, I'd say Cancelo, Trent, or Rodrigo. There's probably my 3 other ones that I'd say. Also Martinelli. I think he's one that gets overlooked because when everyone sees those Arsenal fixtures, they just go, we'll go Jesus captain or Jesus vice. But Martinelli's taking a lot of shots. He took the most shots and most attempted assists in his game against Fulham. So definitely getting very involved, that's for sure. Should I captain KDB or Haaland? Personally, I'd captain KDB because I think he's got a higher chance or a bit more certainty around him starting. Definitely a bit of doubt around both of them, of course. But it's so hard to say, though, who's going to have a high chance of being rotated. Next week, the best replacement for Mount. So at 8 mil, there's definitely great options around 6 more. So, yeah, whether it be Rodrigo, Gross, I think Gundogan as well. He just missed game week 4 because of a slight niggle. It wasn't Pep, rotation. It was just a precautionary measure because of an injury. Otherwise, he would have played. So I still think Gundogan's firmly in Pep's favoured starting 11, which is good to see. He's, picking up great positions. He's playing that box-to-box role really well like he did a couple of seasons ago. So I think he could prove to be a nice option as well. I'd hope that he gets prioritised for those Premier League minutes. Yeah, otherwise, as I touched on Gross, Rodrigo's good. When Zaha comes back from injury, we'll see how he goes. Diaz, I haven't touched on him, but yeah, Diaz, great fixtures. Probably more of a short-term punt. Looking at Liverpool's fixtures, next three solid, but then Chelsea away is difficult. Brighton, we've seen how stingy their defence have been so far, just the one goal conceded. Arsenal away, City at home, West Ham at home. It's a difficult sort of fixture on there. Those next 4 or 5 after game week 7. Probably more of a short-term punt, which could see managers drop down to just those 2 Liverpool assets rather than a triple up. I think that could be a real possibility, if managers have Diaz and Robertson, maybe those 2 drop out of the squad and look to a different player. Should I start Mitrovic? I think it's a solid fixture when they're playing at home. Obviously, Brighton's defence, as we touched on, so strong. I think just given his form, you'd have to start him. He's in such great touch. He's scoring against some quality defences. Obviously scored against Liverpool and Arsenal away actually as well. So yeah, Fulham are looking decent at home. They've scored 5 goals in their first 2 home games. Fulham, including 2 against Liverpool. They're getting up and about again for that home crowd. So I will definitely be starting him. Rahul, bro, thank you so much for the donation, man. Should I use free hit today? Have Reece James and Haaland? So do we, but I think, using a free hit now is probably not the best usage of the chip. I'm going to be having, I think, as I said before, I'd be encouraging lots of managers to have Haaland in that starting 11. Even though Pep, there's a bit of chance that he does get benched in the comments, a bit of wait and see from Pep, not giving too much away as per usual. The man does not give much away. If everyone's enjoying the stream, give it a subscribe. We're trying to hit 10k. We're so close. Just 300 off. It's been a grind to get to this point, so it'll be so hard to hit 10k. Reece James not playing yet. We've seen the talk about him not playing, but just don't necessarily want to transfer him out of the squad right now just because we don't know the extent or the full length of the injury. So don't want to make that premature transfer and then find out that he's going to be out for a shorter period of time. Moses Saicedo over Rodrigo. Interesting take. Is Jesus a good captain option? I think he's one of the better captain options this week. For me, he's probably the second best captain option. That's why I've got him on vice captaincy. I'd say Salah, if anyone's got Salah, I think he's strong favourite for best captain option this week. I think he's the most likely premium to start between him, KDB, Haaland, 3 of the higher owned premiums. I think Salah's probably the highest chance to play. He loves getting lots of minutes for Liverpool. He'll be anxious to score after not getting involved in a 9-0 win last week. Sell Reece James to fund Jimenez. I'd like to see a bit more from Jimenez first. I think Wolves fixture's kind of dead end. We'll just review that really quickly. Yeah, there we are. Bang. Jimenez. He's got Bournemouth and Southampton. Next 2 are good, but then, look at the fixture turn after that. Liverpool, Man City, West Ham, Chelsea. So, for now, I'd be selling those Wolves assets. Their attacking assets aren't getting amongst the goals too much. Never scored a great goal for us last week, but I'd had a 0.03 XG, that goal, actually. So, yeah, I think Wolves assets are good ones to sell right now. Their next 2 fixtures are alright, but after that, it's definitely a dead end for their fixtures. Thoughts on Cancelo to Reece James and then Andreas to Eze as a differential or Veltman to Perisic? Well, I guess right now with the concern over Reece James, probably would be avoiding transferring him in. I wouldn't necessarily transfer him out either. I think it's a bit too reactionary. Touched on that before. Just make sure we know the full extent of injuries before you move on players. Do I play Andreas or Saliba? I'd probably go Saliba. Perisic for Haaland for game week 5. That's a double. You'd have to make a double transfer, so it just depends on how many transfers you have available. So Maxman has a 50% chance to play, so should I keep him? Yeah, I'll check that for you on Fantasy Football Fix. I'll have a look at Newcastle's predicted lineup, because obviously we've got Trippier on the bench here. Everyone who hasn't seen that, there's the bench right now. Trippier and Patterson are the first 2, so if for whatever reason, I'm guessing Reece James could miss. Trippier comes on against Liverpool away. According to Fix, he's got a 97% chance to play. The comment was, Kieran should be fine on August 30, so that little niggle that we were speaking about before looks to be not impacting him too much. So yeah, if Reece James doesn't play, which is looking likely at this current stage, we're in good hands with Trippier coming off the bench. Otherwise, St. Max, it looks to be that he won't be in that starting 11, according to Fix. They've just got him at a 25% chance to play right now. So I'd be probably sticking him on the bench if you had St. Maximin this week. Kane for Haaland. Personally, I wouldn't be making the transfer. I'd be holding on to Haaland. Even if he doesn't start against Nottingham Forest, which personally I think he's definitely a doubt to start. He's going to come off the bench probably for 15 to 20 minutes, hopefully, just to, stretch the legs. And, he can be productive in that time. And regardless after that, you've got some great fixtures with him. Aston Villa away, Tottenham at home, 2 strong fixtures. So I think I'd still be holding on to Haaland. His XG is just too good. His underlying stats are too good. So there's the potential that even if he doesn't start, he can still score points in this game. Consider downgrading Cancelo to a 4.0 and then upgrading your 4.5 to Mitrovic. I mean, if you compare the pair, you're literally pretty much just going Cancelo to Mitrovic. I think Cancelo should outscore Mitrovic. Please talk about Reece James. Okay, I'll give my thoughts on Reece James real quick. It looks to be that he won't be playing in Gameweek 5. But if you're a Reece James owner and you've got a strong bench, I'd be happy to leave him on the starting pitch, right? And if he doesn't play, obviously it's not looking like he's going to play. I wouldn't transfer him out of the squad just because we don't know the full extent of his injury. There's not been too much news about how long he's going to be out for. So if you transfer him out and he's not out for that long, it's obviously a big mistake because he's going to have still a very high ownership. So just make sure the bench is prioritised. You've got a strong bench this week. I just think, for now, until we get some more information, I just believe in him. Opinions on Dunk. I think he's probably one of the best 4.5, roughly 4.5 defenders right now. I think him and Saliba are probably the two best 4.6 and 4.7 players. Martinelli or Diaz. I think Martinelli's just got better underlying stats and he's better value, so I'd lean towards Martinelli. Sub Haaland for Bernardo. If you've got Haaland in the team, I'd start him. That's for sure. Thoughts on Salah and Gundogan versus KDB Diaz? It's a bit closer than people think. I'd still lean towards Salah Gundogan. Is getting Haaland a good idea because Guardiola said he might get rotated? It just depends who you're moving on. So if you're making a double change just to get Haaland in and taking a -4, personally, I think he's definitely a higher chance of getting rotated this week than in Game Week 6. Purely based on the comments Pep's made so far about the amount of rest that he's going to get. Also, you'd expect Man City to win comfortably in this game, so maybe Pep doesn't feel like he has to play the strongest squad for this game. You maybe want to prioritise Haaland for a slightly more difficult fixture against Aston Villa away in Game Week 6. Cancelo to Walker and Archer to Mitrovic. I still like Cancelo so much personally. Should I still have Mendy as a goalkeeper? I think it just depends on your team whether downgrading him gives you enough money to upgrade someone like a Bailey to a Gross or something like that. It just depends whether other upgrade you can make around the side. Otherwise Southampton away for Chelsea is a decent fixture. I wouldn't necessarily sell him if you've not got massive upgrades to make. West Ham at home is a good fixture from a defensive standpoint right now because they've scored 1 goal all season. And Fulham away is not the worst. Opinions on Harrison as Rodrigo differential. I mean, that's pretty much what Harrison is right now. He's just a cheaper alternative to Rodrigo that's still putting up great underlying stats and is obviously a lot lower owned. So that's pretty much what he serves as the purpose of right now. I'd still prefer Rodrigo just because his underlying stats are so good. I'll just check Harrison, because Harrison's been putting up some stats. He's definitely more of an assister than a goal scorer. I think, yeah, Rodrigo's more of the goal scorer in that side, and Harrison is a bit more out wide, whipping in a lot of crosses. 13 attempted assists for Harrison. Ranks third amongst all players so far. He's actually only taken 3 shots across the year. So definitely, yeah, as I've said, more of an assisting kind of player. Just taking the 3 shots, which is not great. For that reason, I mean, was that Rodrigo's taken 6 times the amount of shots, so I'd still be leaning towards Rodrigo because goals are what gets the midfielders points. Salah or Haaland captain? I think this is probably also a question on a few people's minds at least. I'd be leaning towards Salah just because I think he has a higher chance of playing. According to Fix, Salah's got a 98% chance to play. He loves playing as many minutes as he can. You know, he'd be itching to score a goal. He'd be so frustrated that he didn't score a goal. He'd be really wanting to score a goal against Newcastle. And, you know, to be fair to Newcastle, watching that Wolves game, they weren't the most impressive. I think, you know, with Wilson and Guimaraes out of the side, it definitely takes a lot out of the team. There's a real notable difference, I think. So, yeah, Liverpool should enjoy a nice day out, I reckon, in that game. I have Zinchenko. Do you think he'll play? I think he's a high chance not to play. I think he's probably going to miss this week, that's for sure. And whether he's going to be back for Gameweek 6, we'll see. But yeah, definitely Gameweek 5, he's going to be out. Start Trippier or Zinchenko. I'd definitely start Trippier just because I don't think Zinchenko will play. Will Robertson outscore Reece James this week? Well, it appears that Reece James may not be playing. For now, I'm going to leave him in the side, but if I'd assume that, you know, both Robbo and Reece James play, it's tough to say. I think it'd be fairly even. Maybe just Robbo because, you know, Newcastle's attacks had a bit taken out of it with, you know, the loss of Wilson and Guimaraes. So the clean sheet potential may be slightly higher for Liverpool. But then Reece James offers more attacker potential, so I think they'd score similar. Between Haaland or KDB for captain, that's another one that's tough to say. I think they both have a chance of being, you know, rotated, but just because of the lower difficulty of the fixture and quick turnarounds. If I had to pick one, maybe KDB. I think he's probably got a slightly higher chance of starting, but it's definitely a bit of uncertainty around him, that's for sure. Best defenders for this week, well, Trent has to be there. Cancelo has to be there. I think a Brighton defender could be nice. Like a Dunk or, you know, a Saliba against Aston Villa at home could be nice for Arsenal. So, yeah, looking at the fixtures, I'd really like Liverpool, Man City, Brighton, Arsenal. Those be the 4 defences for me that I'd like. Also, the Tottenham defence against West Ham away. They've just scored the 1 goal, West Ham. Gabriel or Saliba, definitely a much of a muchness. Just because of the cheaper price, I go Saliba. I think they should score fairly similar. Obviously, Gabriel offers decent potential from corners, and we've already seen him get on the score sheet with an attacking return. Same with Saliba, to be fair, but just based on price, Saliba. Is Bamford playing? There was a comment made about him that he has recovered a lot. So I'll get the exact quote. I'll pull it up. The comment was, Patrick Bamford will be really close for that match against Everton, so we should have options. Which is an interesting one from Rodrigo's perspective, actually, because, you know, he's kind of taking that sort of position. Whether, you know, because of his form, maybe he pushes out wider, or he drops a bit more shallow, and maybe, you know, Dan James leaves the squad and Patrick Bamford comes in. But there's also the potential that Bamford just comes off the bench, which could see Rodrigo just play the, you know, 60, 70 minutes, which we have seen him do so far this season in Gameweek 1, just the 64 minutes. It'll be interesting to see that, actually, because that could definitely change, you know, Rodrigo's kind of appeal, just depending on his position change or, you know, minutes change with Bamford being back, ready to go. Will Trippier come on? I think, well, it looks to be that according to the fix, he's favoured to start. Newcastle do have a lot of injuries, to be fair. I'll go through their injury list. Trippier did get a little niggle against Wolves, but the comment was from the manager that he should be fine. That was the quote. Newcastle's injuries, obviously Guimaraes is out. Kraft is gone. That's a fullback. Trippier, or that's a defender rather. Trippier should be okay. Wilson is not looking good. St. Maximin's not looking good. And I think Chris Wood will still be the striker for Newcastle. So there is options whether Lewis plays or Dan Burn as well. We'll have to see. But for now, Trippier's filming on my bench, and if Reece James doesn't play, he's there to come on. What do you think about Sterling? I think he could be a good differential pick. Looking at Chelsea's fixtures, definitely a nice extended fixture run. I mean, yeah, look at that. It's a superb extended fixture run. Just at the start of Liverpool at home in Gameweek 8. Could be a really good pick. I was looking at some underlying stats for him before, and he's really snuck up to be one of the better midfield options right now. We filter this by midfielders, and we'll have a look at the expected FPL points for midfielders. Sterling could definitely be a nice differential. I mean, I'd assume managers have a decent amount of money in the squad right now just because of the good, cheaper midfield options of Gross, Rodrigo, and Martinelli, which I'm guessing a few managers do have. So yeah, amongst midfielders so far, Sterling, 4th highest expected FPL points. So that's behind Gross, Salah, Rodrigo. 4th highest XG of 1.92 and a decent XA of 1.07. He's taken 9 shots so far. Obviously, the shots that he does take, from close range, he likes arriving at the back post. 3 shots on target so far this season and 2 goals. So, yeah, definitely could be a nice pick for sure. We'll have to see. If he can continue this form, definitely an interesting one. Reece James out. Yeah, there's definitely been some comments about him not travelling with the Southampton team. So there is the potential that he does miss this week, but I'm not sure about the extent of the injury, so I don't necessarily want to move him out of the squad. I'd be happy just to have him sit there. And right now, if he doesn't play, then we've got a decent bench depth. Robbo or Rodrigo, it's definitely 50-50, isn't it? Robbo's got great, clean sheet potential, plus he can chip in with an assist. He's got a good next 3. Rodrigo's definitely more of a long-term option, good extended run. I'll give you some points projections to, help out with the decision. Robertson, next 6, 26.1 predicted points. Rodrigo, 23 predicted points. So extremely similar. I think at that point it will just come down to personal preference. Thoughts on Tony? I think he's a great forward option, that's for sure. I think he's probably the 3rd or 4th best option, roughly around there. As far as mid-price forwards go, I think outside of, Kane, Haaland, Jesus, I think the next best to be him or Mitrovic. They've been putting up some great underlying stats. And he's got a great extended run of fixtures, so definitely one to consider, yeah. Gross captain, could be a nice differential. Should be a good game against Fulham, between Fulham and Brighton. I think it could be a close one. But yeah, it could be a good differential. My favourite differentials for this week, as we touched on, outside of Salah and Jesus, who I think will be the most popular 2 captains, I look at Trent, Cancelo, and Rodrigo potentially as my 3 differential captains this week, if anyone's looking for a differential captain. Cancelo or Trent, I lean towards Trent, just better attacking potential. You sure Haaland will play? I'm definitely not sure Haaland will play. I think he's a doubt to start, that's for sure, but even if he comes off the bench, which is definitely a possibility, he can be productive in that time. He's got great expected stats that he can be productive in those 20 minutes. Is Fofana playing? I'll have a look at Chelsea's predicted lineup. Looks to be Koulibaly's back for Chelsea as well, so whether that, decreases the chance of Fofana being there. Chelsea's back. So, yeah, it looks to be that Reece James has actually dropped out of... That's interesting. Their predicted lineup for Chelsea. Yeah, there is the potential that he plays. I'm not too sure, though, to be honest. Yeah, obviously, Koulibaly's back. Thiago Silva will be there. And then, whether what they do with Loftus-Cheek and Cucurella and, Ben Chilwell's obviously waiting, depending on his fitness, what's going to happen with that. We'll have to see. Just have to say either way. Is Perisic playing? I'd be leaning towards probably not playing for Perisic. I think the short turnaround is just a bit too much for him, personally. I think he'll probably drop to the bench this week and then feature game week 6. Probably come off the bench, though, like he has done in the past. Should I go Cucurella and Eze or Andreas and James? Probably Cucurella and Eze, I think. Eze is a better option than Andreas, and yeah, obviously the doubt about Reece James. I haven't seen anything massively concrete right now about Reece James. There seems to be a bit of talk about him, but for me, he's not leaving the squad right now. I'm happy just to have him there, and then assess once the injury news becomes more concrete and the length of the injury gets confirmed. Perisic should get 25 to 30. Yeah, we'll have to see. Could come off the bench and get that. Haaland captain or not? I think it's a bit too risky with his starting minutes. It'd be devastating to have him captain, then he gets benched, that's for sure. So I think you play the safer option. You go Mo Salah or Jesus, players that probably have a higher chance of starting. Do you think Henderson will play? If you mean Henderson from Forest, I'm sure he'll play, yeah. Fofana, a risk to start. Yeah, I'm not sure whether he's going to slot into the team this week or not. It's kind of hard to say either way right now with Fofana. We'll have to see. If he starts this week, then he's definitely going to be starting the majority of games coming up. But yeah, will Chilwell start? Potentially, with this Reece James news maybe being out, Cucurella could push to centre back, and maybe Chilwell slots in. I'd expect Cucurella to maybe get one more start and then Chilwell to get some minutes. Right now, according to Fix, Cucurella is preferred to start by them. He's got a 64% chance to play, and Chilwell's at a 44%. So I think that's what they're saying, is they're definitely expecting Chilwell to be coming back soon and approaching the starting 11, but for now, Cucurella is still a slight favourite to be playing in this one. It's either Aspi, Loftus-Cheek or Fofana slots in. Yeah, we'll have to see. Is FIFA ready to play? I honestly haven't been monitoring. I stopped playing FIFA like a year ago. That's my proudest achievement, honestly. Like, over a year, sucked in buying the new FIFA. It's like the same game every year. I didn't want to keep forking out the $100. So I'm off it. Mitrovic or Tony? Definitely a good debate to have right now after Mitrovic has just continued to put up points. Maybe given the difficult next 3 fixtures for Fulham, Brighton's defence has been solid. Tottenham away, Chelsea at home. You lean towards Tony. It's sort of a form versus fixtures thing. Mitrovic is in slightly better form, but Tony probably has comfortably better fixtures, and still Tony's form has been very strong. So I think Tony's be my preferred pick. Jesus or Martinelli captain? 2 very good options. I'd maybe just go for Jesus. Should I put Reece James on the bench? I think I'd still start him. I still have him starting, and the chance that he plays, or for whatever reason, he could be productive in this one. But yeah, if he's going to miss out, then I doubt he's going to come off the bench at all. So you can just trust the bench player to come on and get the points. Should I start Rodrigo or Koulibaly? I like Rodrigo. I think Everton at home is a good fixture. You'd hope Chelsea get the clean sheet, but yeah, Rodrigo's in great touch. Haaland or Jesus? Captain, I lean towards Jesus just because of the more solidity or sort of certainty, should I say, around those starting minutes. What 4.5 mil forward do I transfer in for Archer to avoid price drop? I'll have a look at the price change predictor around Archer. I wouldn't really go out of your way to make a transfer just to avoid a 0.1 price drop. I think there's definitely better uses of the transfer. Let's have a look at Archer. He's not expected to go down in price for at least the next 2 days. He's at 50% progress roughly right now of a decrease. He's going down at 0.9% per hour, so we'll have to see with him. But I wouldn't necessarily make a transfer. I think transfers are very valuable right now. There's so many good options that are, wasting a transfer on a 0.1 price drop's probably not worth it. Otherwise, while we're on the topic of price changes, the players that are expected to change in price are the next batch of price changes. As far as the rises go, Gross is almost guaranteed to go up in price, as is Luis Diaz, as is Robert Sanchez. Haaland is also expected to go up in price, also Emerson Royale, Rodrigo, Cucurella, Saliba and Odegaard. So there's expected to be tons of players going up in price. This could be one of the highest amount of players going up in price in a single price change. But the three ones that are looking almost guaranteed for a rise are Gross, Diaz and Sanchez. Probably Haaland there as well. Otherwise, the players that haven't fully reached their progress bar, Rodrigo, Cucurella, Saliba and Odegaard, also could rise in price. Any news on Bailey? Well, there's news on Coutinho not playing, which probably increases Bailey's chance of playing. It's just another attacker that misses out for Villa, so there's a chance that Bailey does play. I mean, right now it seems to be he's gone start, bench. So, maybe go start again. It's weird. I like to get inside the mind of Stevie G, what he's doing with the Aston Villa team, because he's in a shambles right now. The attack looks so much better with Bailey playing. It's insane. I'm not sure why he's not starting more games. Is Jose Sarr a good keeper? He's a great keeper, but for FPL, Wolves' next two fixtures are difficult. Next two fixtures are good. Otherwise, they get a bit difficult. So I wouldn't go transferring him in because you pretty much just got 2 weeks of Wolves' potential clean sheets after that. The lads have got a difficult fixture run. Andreas or Perisic? I mean, it's a tough one. I'd expect Perisic to probably come off the bench. So it just depends whether you think Perisic in 20 minutes or so can be more productive than Andreas across the whole game. Is Greenwood from Leeds going to have a price drop? I'm surprised he hasn't decreased in price so far, given how many people have transferred him out. And it actually looks like he will be going down in price. Not these price changes, but the one after. So he's reached 87% of his transfer, like his bar. He got to get up to 100%. So he's nearly going down. Not going to go down as the next price changes, but the one after that looks like he's going to drop to 4.4. So it seems to be in 2 price changes time, Greenwood will go down, and then probably 3 price changes time, Archer will go down. Zaha replacement, well, Gross is good, Rodrigo's good. If you want to go up to a bit more expensive, I like Gundogan and I like Diaz. Why don't we vice captain or captain Haaland? Just because of the uncertainty around his minutes. Will St. Maximin play? No, he will not play. Almost guarantee he will not play. Start Zinchenko over Andreas. It looks to be that Zinchenko is going to miss out Gameweek 5. I think he's a very high doubt for Gameweek 5. So, I think he'll miss. If everyone's enjoying the stream, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to hit 10k. We're so close to 10k. It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome to hit 10k. Such an awesome achievement. Differential captain, Harrison or Cancelo? I'd like Cancelo. I think he should start for Man City. He's got a 100% chance of starting according to Fix. Nottingham Forest at home, great fixture from a defensive standpoint. Chips in with an assist. You'd expect him to feature on bonus. Even if he gets a clean sheet, you expect him just to feature on bonus because he's always got the ball with his feet. He's always making lots of passes, putting some good through balls in. Trent or Diaz? I think Trent's definitely the better Liverpool asset. Bench De Silva or Zinchenko? Well, ideally I wouldn't want to start De Silva, but I think that may have to be the case just because Zinchenko looks unlikely to play. Thoughts on Kulusevski? A nice pick. You're potentially approaching the end of your life, like the Kulusevski lifeline, just because the fixtures, West Ham and Fulham next to, okay, yeah, that's decent. But then Man City, Leicester, Arsenal, and then obviously Brighton away is a tricky one right now, given their form. One to monitor, that's for sure, if you can, keep up this form, but the fixture runs slightly unkind for Tottenham after the next couple games, so something to take into consideration with him. Just one to monitor for now for me. What to do with Trippier? He stays in my squad this week, even if he doesn't start against Liverpool away. Newcastle have got awesome fixtures coming up, so they've put up 2 clean sheets. Trippier, of course, has got that goal potential from the free kicks. He's already put it up once this year. He got an assist in the EFL Cup off a corner. He's attempting the most assists for Newcastle, so that's always good. Allah, thanks so much for the donation, man. I really appreciate that. Is Reece James confirmed out? I can't say definitively Reece James is confirmed out, but from what I've heard people say, he didn't travel with the team to Southampton, but that's not concrete. I cannot 100% confirm that. The other thing with him is I also cannot confirm how long he's going to be out for with an injury, so I wouldn't necessarily transfer him out of the squad. I think, yeah, because as long as you don't know the extent of the injury, you can't really transfer a player out, just because if they're only going to miss one game. Simon Phillips has tweeted, he's got 310k followers. Reece James won't be risked tonight. Precautionary, not serious. So that's something to note down. Precautionary, not serious with Reece James. Billy Gilmore has travelled with the squad. So I think, based on that information from Simon, 310k followers. Precautionary, not serious. I wouldn't be selling him from the squad by any means. I think there's probably just going to be a change in personnel when that Chelsea starting 11. And yeah, as we touched on with Reece James, still some excellent fixtures coming up. Liverpool away. Sorry, Liverpool at home is pretty much the only bad fixture in that batch there. West Ham at home is great. Fulham away is great. Crystal Palace away is solid. Wolves at home is great fixture. Great extended run for Chelsea. So for me, Reece James isn't a transfer out, but it looks to me that he's going to be a doubt for Gameweek 5. Gross or Rodrigo, 2 very solid picks. Gross has a slightly higher expected FPL points, but I like the amount of shots Rodrigo's taking, and I like his run of fixtures. To be fair, both of them have got a great, run of fixtures up until Game Week 10, roughly. I think Gross is fairly similar around that Game Week 10 period. He's up to Game Week 12. Liverpool away, Tottenham at home, and there's a bit tricky, but I'd lean slightly towards Rodrigo. There was the thoughts that Gross would be on penalties. That seems to be not the case right now. But yeah, just the amount of shots that Rodrigo's taking is really impressive. Who should I bring in for Shaw? I've got 0.2 in the bank. I'd say my 4.5 options roughly would be Dunk and Saliba right now. They're my 2 favourite picks at that price. Should I keep Wilson? Personally, not. I think I'd move him out of the squad. Jesus or Salah captain. Well, we've obviously got Salah captain, so we have to recommend Salah. Will Kyle Walker start? According to Fix, he's 100% chance to start, so... And that's filled me with enough confidence. I think he should start. Should I sell Neto? You know, it's an interesting situation. You've held on to him for this long. Ideally, if you got the money, you can go up to Gross. I think he's a better pick. Yes, you know, Wolves got a decent next two fixtures, but, you know, he's not really doing too much from an attacking standpoint. As of just Wolves as a team in general, so... Will Perisic start? I think he'll get benched this week. Fantasy Football Fix also expect Sessegnon to come back into the starting team. I think Perisic might come off the bench for 20 minutes or so. Odegaard or Rodrigo. Rodrigo's just got better underlying stats, so I take Rodrigo. Should I sell Zaha? It's tough to say. He's 50-50 for this week, so I'd expect him back Gameweek 6. So if you're happy to have him in your team Gameweek 6 onwards, then I'd hold on to him. But he's 50-50. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Zaha for this week. We'll have to see whether he's going to be back in time. Start Haaland, Jesus, and Tony. Yeah, I'd be starting all three, yeah, for sure. Who should I bench? Gabriel or Fofana? I've bench boosted. I'd probably bench Fofana just because there's a bit more uncertainty about his starting minutes compared to Gabriel. Oh, you said you bench boosted. My bad. Didn't read the freaking comment. Jesus or Salah captain? Salah, just. Sell Kane by Haaland. It's an interesting dilemma, that one. I think I'd be still happy with Kane this week. I'm a bit unsure about Haaland's minutes. Even if he does start, actually, should I say, we've seen in the past him leave the pitch early when Man City have been in a comfortable position. You know, when they were 2-0 up comfortably against West Ham, played the 77. Bournemouth, they were up comfortably, played the 73. Newcastle, that was a close game, played the 90, and then Crystal Palace, that was a close game. They needed to come back in that one, so he played closer to the full 90. I think against Nottingham Forest, it won't be a close game. Personally, I think Man City shouldn't, demolish them. Should win 4-5-0. So I wouldn't expect Haaland to play a massive amount of minutes, even if he does start. So that's why he's not taking the captaincy or vice captaincy armband. I think, either way, whether he starts or gets benched, he'll be on reduced minutes for this game. Reece James replacements. I wouldn't be replacing Reece James, just for anyone interested. I don't think getting rid of Reece James is the right move. It looks to be just a precautionary move from Chelsea, so you'd expect him to be straight back into that squad Gameweek 6, and he's such a good asset that it's not worth getting him out if he's just going to be back in the week after. Is Salah going to get returns though? I hope so. His underlying stats are still very good. I can see why people are frustrated by him. He's still got extremely high XG and extremely high expected FPL points. So, for that reason, he remains in my team as the captain, should I say. If you filter by XG, Salah 5th behind Haaland, Mitrovic, Kane and Zaha. He's attempted the most assists actually out of any player with 15, which is interesting to see. His XA is also pretty high with 1.24. That ranks 6th amongst all players. And his expected FPL points does rank 4th amongst all players, behind Haaland, Gross and Kane. So still getting it. He's still ranking towards the top for his underlying stats, despite not setting the world on fire with a massive start to the new season. I still think 2 goals and 1 assist for an output so far is a solid return from him. It's not massive seller levels, which we're used to, but he's got the underlying stats. The underlying stats are there. Zinchenko in or out? He's going to be out this week. It looks likely that he's going to miss this week, Zinchenko. What's Perisic's minutes going to be like? I'd expect him to play, 15 to 20 off the bench. I think Sessegnon will start for Tottenham personally. Just think the turnaround's probably a bit too quick for a man of his age. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sessegnon starts. Reece James is ill this week. Yeah, so he's going to remain in this starting spot. Because if he's not going to travel with the squad, then we're just going to have Trippier come on. But by the off chance that he does play, then obviously we're going to prefer Reece James. But he's not going to sell him. I'm just happy leaving it like that. If he's not going to play, then he's definitely not going to play any minutes at all. So I'm happy with how the bench is organised. Hopefully Liverpool don't batter Newcastle too much. So even if Trippier doesn't play or doesn't start, that's fine. We've got Patterson there as well. So otherwise, everyone else around the squad, I would be expecting to get at least some minutes throughout the week. So yeah, Reece James would be the main concern, but we've got the bench depth this week to have that covered. Getters for 6 mil worth it. Thinking of bringing him in for Zaha. It'd probably be as a 2-week punt, I'd say. Obviously, Wolves fixtures do take a turn for the worst after the next 2 weeks. So if you're looking for a good 2-week punt, maybe you could go for him. There's definitely players that have found better form around his price that have better extended fixtures. But I can see the temptation. How do I change formation? You just sub on a player. So if I wanted to change formation to a 4-4-2, I just do that. Sub on a midfielder for a defender, and then it will automatically switch to a 4-4-2. But yeah, that's how you do it. You have to have at least 3 defenders, 1 forward, and 3 midfielders on at all times. Andreas or Zinchenko? I'd have to say Andreas just because I don't think Zinchenko is going to start. I think he's very unlikely to start Gameweek 5. That's the conclusion that I make. I think, yeah, I would not be surprised to see Zinchenko miss this week. Is Reece James playing? I don't think he is. I think he's probably going to miss, but I'll explain that. Keep St. Max. He's missing this game week. He's definitely not going to play this game week, but I'll leave that up to you. Whether for your squad you feel like you want to keep him in or take him out. Should we consider selling Salah if he underperforms this week? I can imagine that's a question on a few managers' minds for sure. Me personally, he underperforms this week. That's fine. For me, he's got Everton away, Wolves at home next. I'm happy to keep him for the next 3 at least. And then, maybe he's, all of a sudden his underlying stats have gone to trash. He's not going to integrate positions or starts getting rotated for some crazy reason. Then from game week 8 to 11, maybe we could consider taking him out of the squad. But for me right now, his underlying stats are too good. His next 3 fixtures are too good that he has to stay in at least for that period. But yeah, it's on a very rare occasion where you actually transfer out Mo Salah from your FPL team. I did it like 2 seasons ago, I think, but for me, he's almost as essential as they come. His underlying stats are too good, and you'd think they'd only get better. He's not made a massive start to the season, but you'd think he'd only get better. Start Perisic or Andreas Pereira. I think Perisic will come off the bench, so I'll leave that up to you whether you think Perisic in 20 minutes can outscore Andreas Pereira in a most likely a full 90. If everyone's enjoying the stream, leave a like. It really helps out. Push out the stream to more people. It helps out the channel quite a lot. And of course, subscribe as well. If you're enjoying the content, we're definitely going to be uploading a knee-jerk reaction tomorrow after the first batch of games. Go over, the most transferred in, transferred out players. Definitely going to be a buy, hold, sell ahead of the weekend's matches. And then, of course, a team selection has to feature. There's also going to be some UCL team selection content coming out shortly, as that is around the corner. So if anyone is interested in the UCL team selection, definitely look out for some of that action. Definitely going to be lots of content coming out. Pretty much posting nearly every day on the channel, which is good, keeping busy. Saliba or Gabriel? I like Saliba just based on the price. Aaronson to Gross. Yeah, not a bad move. I don't think Aaronson's underlying stats are very promising. His only goals come from stealing the ball from Mendy. So yeah, just made based on Gross underlying stats. Cucurella to start. Yeah, he's got a 64% chance to start. I think he's likely to start. for them. Should I do Robertson to dunk? And Bailey upgrade. I think for now, for me, Robertson is a strong hold. Next 3 fixtures, I fancy him. I'd hope he starts. He did come off early for Simicast. He didn't play too many minutes in game week 4. So, I think he's still a strong option to hold. I wouldn't necessarily move him on. If there's another player you can downgrade to upgrade Bailey, I'd look for that. Tony for James in the starting XI. If you've got Tony on the bench right now and you've got James starting, then definitely, switch those 2 lads around. Refresh the FPL page. Should be for injury if last game visible. Yeah, that's fine. I've seen comments about that and news about that. It was a slight niggle in that game. Eddie Howe said he's quite wise. He should be fine. That's what he said. So he did play on from that little niggle. It was, it was with, I think, like 20 minutes roughly to go, and he played out the final 20 minutes. Newcastle literally brought on some substitutes right after his little injury, and he was fine. He didn't come off. He was still more than healthy to play the rest of the game. Should I switch Haaland if I have a free hit? It's so tough to say. I mean, maybe on a free hit you could switch him because I don't think he's going to play massive minutes. Haaland in or out? I'd still be starting him in the FPL teams, that's for sure. But I think if it comes down to it, I think he's probably slightly more likely to get benched than to start. But he's definitely going to be productive when he comes on the ground. Great underlying stats, good fixture. Luis Diaz a good option. Yeah, definitely a 3-week punt. I mean, we'll just touch on Liverpool fixtures once more. Good next 3: Newcastle, Everton, Wolves. After that, difficult from on an offensive standpoint. Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, Man City's not easy. So, I mean, if you're looking for a wild card around Gameweek 8, 9, I can see Diaz being a good short-term punt. Should I bring in Ruben Neves or someone else? I have 5.5. It's kind of an awkward price. Not a massive fan of Ruben Neves. He scored an insane goal. Had like an XG of 0.03. So potentially not. If you can free up some a little bit more money, I mean, Gross is such a great option at just a little bit more. Aronson's around that price. His underlying stats aren't insane though, but Leeds have got good fixtures. Creepy Crispy, relax. Have Perisic and Reece James. It's likely they won't start. Should I play Andreas and De Silva? I'd still start Perisic. Honestly, I prefer Perisic in 20 minutes than De Silva the whole game. With Reece James, yeah, I'll be happy for you to bench Reece James and play Andreas. Sorry lads about the mic situation. Just got disconnected there. Anyway, back to it. So Rodrigo captain, good or crazy? A strong differential. I think outside of Salah and Jesus, my 3 favourite differentials would be Trent, Cancelo, and Rodrigo. Is Reece James starting? I think he's going to be out for this game, but in our squad, we've just got him sitting there in the off chance he does play. We've got Trippier against Liverpool away first bench, who I think should hopefully start because those niggle injuries that we were originally concerned about, look to be all good. Eddie Howe said he should be fine. Otherwise, we've got Patterson against Leeds away. All sides won 9.96k. If anyone hasn't subscribed, and consider subscribing, I'll be hyped to hit 10k and stream 40 off. Come on, lads. Best budget centre mid for Gameweek 5. I guess if you count Gross's budget, then he has to be the best one. Trossard over one of Martinelli or Rodrigo as a differential. I still prefer Martinelli and Rodrigo. Trossard's underlying stats aren't insane, so I think I prefer those other two. Phase Mendy change. I wouldn't change Mendy. I understand the frustration with the Chelsea defense, but I think there's probably better transfers to be made around the squad than swapping out Mendy. Should I start Reece James or Trippier for Gameweek 5? Well, we're starting Reece James and having Trippier first bench. I'll leave that up to you. For me, if Reece James doesn't play, then he's probably not going to play at all. So that's why I've got him starting and Trippier can just come off the bench. But in the off chance Reece James does play, he's got the better fixture, so that's why he's there. Do you back the United defence this week? I was looking at Darlow actually. Just one to monitor at 4.4 right now. His price has gone down. ICT Nick's rank of 3 for defenders, pretty impressive. Leicester away. I'd expect Leicester to score in this one. Arsenal home is also a tricky fixture. The United fixtures aren't the most favourable, but maybe one to monitor. We'll have to see if they can improve a bit, but yeah, just keep an eye on. Wouldn't necessarily go out and buy. I need help. Who do I take out? Davies, Perisic, James, Bailey, Ward-Prowse, and Zinchenko. Oof. Well, first, I think you just got to prioritise it by who's playing. Zinchenko's definitely out and could be out for a bit. And so probably go Zinchenko out, Saliba in, Bailey out, Chuck Gross in, Ward-Prowse should play, Perisic should come off the bench, Davies should hopefully play. So that's what I do. Dunk or Saliba? Oh, that's such a tough pick. If you've got no other Arsenal defenders, even Brighton's defence is solid. Maybe Dunk. Honestly, maybe Dunk. 0.1 cheaper. Brighton's defence looking more solid than Arsenal's defence at this current stage. So I think you'd lean towards Dunk just purely on defensive form right now. Gross or Rodrigo? Such similar picks. Personally, I like Rodrigo slightly more. Looking at some underlying stats, Rodrigo, he's taken the second most shots out of any player. As far as expected FPL points go, Gross has 29, Rodrigo has 28. Very similar there. Shots on target, Rodrigo doubles Gross. XG, Rodrigo 2.13, Gross 1.75. Gross does have a high XA though, but I think you'd have to focus on the better goal scorer, which is Rodrigo, so I'd lean towards Rodrigo. Saka and Neto, or Martinelli and Rodrigo, are easily Martinelli and Rodrigo. Saka, he was one of the players that left our squad this week. Yes, he chipped in with an assist, but it was from an Odegaard long shot that was deflected. He only had a score involvement of 0.25 in Gameweek 4, and he's staying out wide. He's not getting into great positions. His underlying stats have been poor. And, at that price, there's so many better options around there, such as Diaz, or as we did, go down to, either Gross or Rodrigo. I think they'll outscore him. Martinelli's just got way better underlying stats than Saka as well. Captain on Gundogan. Could be another differential. I think he's most likely going to start this week for sure. He's had that rest. And Pep said it was just for a slight injury. Pep said he could have played in Gameweek 4. It was just precautionary, so he definitely should be ready and available for Gameweek 5. Do you play FIFA? We used to. We didn't. I've stopped playing FIFA. And the last year I didn't buy FIFA 22. Last one I played was FIFA 21. I started FIFA 08 on the DS, which was mental. Is Hull nailed for Game Week 5? Definitely not nailed. I think he's a high doubt. Personally, I think he's probably going to get benched. But for me, 20 minutes of Haaland playing against Nottingham Forest at home off the bench, he can still get a goal. So he's got to be in my starting 11 for FPL. I think, he gets probably benched this week. Even if he starts, he's probably going to play 60 to 70 minutes just because Man City should destroy Forest and they won't really be needing him. We've seen in the past when City have been winning considerably that he comes off early. I think he'll start on the weekend and get benched this game. Well, Reece James played today. It looks to be unlikely that Reece James is going to play today. That's why I've got, Trippier on the bench here. He's got obviously that flag. But he should be alright. Eddie Howe said he should be fine. That's more like a 97% chance according to the fix to play rather than the 75 proposed by the FPL website. Noah, help with a wild card. How many players on my bench should be starters and have a good chance to get points? I wouldn't have all three. I wouldn't have first of all, the keeper should be a 4.0. Probably Ward is a nice 4.0. As far as bench, probably have one playing, one strong playing player, and then you can have a 4.0 playing player, and then a minimum price that won't play. Kind of sort of a similar bench setup to what I've got right now. I've seen people with a 5.0 on their bench, like a Cucurella on their bench or a Gabriel on their bench. They just rotate between those two and then have like a 4.0 there as well. So that's what I do. Estupiñán, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, or Johnny Casher for the next 2 weeks. Probably Johnny. I like his next two fixtures a lot. Gets up the pitch. Captain Haaland or Rodrigo. Personally, I'm not sure about Haaland's minutes, so maybe Rodrigo, honestly. Perisic or Gross. I'd be leaning towards Gross just because, with the more hectic fixture schedule, I'm not too sure about Perisic. I don't think he's going to be playing this week, first of all. And Gross's expected FPL points are very high. Is Eze a good pick? I just want to see more from him. I've seen a lot of people interested in him. I just want to see more from him before we go out and spend the money on him. 16 expected FPL points and he's returned 16. 0 goals, 2 assists so far. He's only had the one shot on target all season in 4 games, 344 minutes. 6 attempted assists. An XG 0.58, XA 0.86. They're okay underlying stats. There's just there's better picks around that price. Kulusevski or Rodrigo, probably Rodrigo. Better underlying stats, better extended run of fixtures. Can't decide on my captain. Should I go for Jesus, Son, or Mitrovic? I go Jesus. Get as captain. I'd stick clear, honestly, even as saying that as a Wolves fan. Our attack is useless right now. -4 replace Zinchenko for Cucurella or any better options. There's Cucurella there. I'm not sure when Chilwell's going to come back into the side and maybe take a minute off Cucurella though. So I think he could be approaching the end of his starting spell. Maybe start seeing some more rotation with Chilwell. So I could go for Saliba or Dunk. Save a bit more money. Haaland, Jesus, or Rodrigo captain. I'd like Jesus out of those three. And then between Jesus and Salah, obviously we've got Salah captain, so we'd have to recommend Salah. Take a -4 up to upgrade from Nico to a Brighton defender to start this week over Pereira, or just start Pereira. I think taking a -4 to get a Brighton defender kind of defeats the purpose of getting a Brighton defender because most of them just get the clean sheet without getting any attacking returns. So by taking the -4, you just wipe out their clean sheets. You might as well just have the 2 points anyway. And then that, yeah, you take on the risk of Brighton having to get that clean sheet just to make up those 4 points. So probably not this week. Who do we think is the best captain? If I had to order the captain picks, I'd say number 1, Salah. Number 2, Jesus. Number 3, either Trent or Cancelo. Those be number 3 and 4. I just don't think Haaland's a good captain this week. There's too much uncertainty around his minutes, and you have to have a player that's 100% certain on minutes for your captaincy. It's just too risky. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Saliba or Trippier to play this week? It'd be Saliba. That's just for Gameweek 5. Kulusevski or Rodrigo? I answered this one already. Definitely Rodrigo. What about Semedo for a 1-week punt for James? I mean, if you're on a free hit, then obviously you're not going to have Reece James. Maybe a Wolves defender. I wouldn't just transfer out Reece James for a 1-week punt and then transfer him back in. I think there's better ways to organise the transfers. Tempted back Guedes just based on that Bournemouth defence. Yeah, so it's surprising to see the managerial situation with Bournemouth right now. Kane or Luis Diaz captain? Between the two, I'm not sure. It could be interesting. I mean, West Ham has a good fixture, and obviously Liverpool's game. Probably a toss-up, but I lean towards Kane, maybe just with the better underlying stats than Diaz. Is this stupid? And I'm not sure how to pronounce it, honestly. Is nailed. I'll have a look at the lineup for Brighton. Against Fulham. He does have a 100% chance to play, according to Fantasy Football Fix, Ian. So there you go. Should I start Mitrovic or Tony? That's such a difficult decision, honestly. Maybe, I mean, it's literally form versus fixture. Tony's got the better fixture, but Mitrovic is a better touch. I'll leave it up to you. What is the view on Mitrovic captain? It's definitely a differential punt. There's probably going to be better picks than him this week. I don't think Brighton will concede more than 2 goals. I think they're probably going to concede 1 goal max. The fact that they've conceded 1 goal against the whole season, in the whole season, I'm not too sure how they're going to concede 2 to Fulham. Is it worth taking a 4-point hit to get Grayson? Yeah, it just depends who is departing the squad for him. New to FPL, William, and struggling to know when to use the wildcard. Any advice? Yeah, so I think the best time to use the wildcard, if you haven't used it already, is probably around game week 8 or 9. Because that's when teams like Liverpool, they have a fixture swing. Maybe they want to get, rid of 1 or 2 of those assets. Game week 8, Chelsea away, 9, Brighton, then Arsenal, then Man City, then West Ham. Man City have got a good extended fixture run. Arsenal, their fixtures sort of take a turn around game week 9. Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds, Man City. And a lot of people have a triple up or double up on Arsenal right now at least. That's with us. So I can see the temptation for a wildcard around this time. There's a few managers own Chelsea players. They've got a better extended run of fixtures. But yeah, I think if you haven't used it already, I'd use it at game week 8 or 9. Maybe move out some of those highly owned players from Arsenal and, maybe drop off one of those other Liverpool players because you're going to get that extra wild card around 17-18, I believe. Game week 17-18. Worth taking the risk and starting Alvarez. That's an interesting one. It's going to be interesting to see how Man City set up that squad with Champions League and, of course, domestic cup competitions and Premier League. whether Alvarez starts getting decent minutes in the Prem. If I had to guess, I think Alvarez might start. I'm not going to lie. Is Fabio Carvalho a good differential? Probably not. Isak, I don't think he's going to start this week. According to a fix, Chris Wood still has a 100% chance to start. I think Isak's one for the future. Even if he's, once he gets starting minutes, one to monitor before I just put straight into the side. Jeff, do I play Trippier and Andreas, or do Edison to Sanchez and a 4.4 mid to Gross, or Reece to Cucurella? It's a tough decision. I don't think Trippier and Andreas Pereira are the best players to start this week. It looks like they're going to be starting in our squad. Gross is probably an opportunity that you want to grab onto. I think Sanchez is another good pick as well, so maybe you can make these transfers. Gross is probably a good player to get aggressive with because a lot of managers are getting him in, so that's be a lot of managers towards the top of the rankings as well. So yeah, you could lose some rank on them if he performs well. Raya in for Ramsdale to get Gross in for Neto. Yeah, I like those moves. Even Sanchez in for Ramsdale as well. Either or. I think an upgrade of Neto to Gross is worth it. It's just a massive amount of points you're able to capture just from making that small upgrade in price. I'm wildcarding this week. Should I get Haaland? On a wildcard, I still don't mind Haaland. I think he's still probably the second best, if not the best premium option in the game right now. Even if he misses Game Week 5, gets benched, he's going to be starting Game Week 6, Game Week 7, probably Game Week 8 as well. And, once Champions League starts kicking in, we'll see what the rotation's like. But, yeah, I think Haaland has to feature on the wildcard team. Is Haaland or St. Maximin playing? St. Maximin's most likely not playing. I can say that with a bit more confidence than Haaland. I think Haaland's definitely a doubt to play. Rodrigo captain, probably a strong differential captain actually, yeah. Yeah, outside of Salah and Jesus, who I think are going to be two more popular captains. I think, Rodrigo is one of the better differentials between Rodrigo, Cancelo, and Trent Alexander-Arnold are probably the three best differentials. Thoughts on wildcards? Edison, Perisic, Trent, Reece James, Semedo, Sterling, Rashford, Martinelli, Harrison, Luis Diaz, Kane, Jesus. Rashford, not fully convinced on. He had a good game a couple of weeks ago, but like to see a bit more from him before he features in the wildcard. Otherwise, solid team all round. Jeff, your team will be Sanchez, Trent, Cancelo, White, Gross, Salah, Andreas, Martinelli, Diaz, Haaland, Jesus. Yeah, solid team, mate. Sterling captain, yeah, good differential this week actually. Chelsea typically do well against Southampton. I remember they destroyed them last season. Reece James is not playing. We are aware he's just sitting in the squad right now. Otherwise, Trippier hopefully will start for Newcastle. If not, Patterson's there against Leeds away. But I'm not going to transfer out Reece James this week because it's just precautionary. He should be back for Game Week 6. Even if he misses Game Week 5, it'll just be a 1 week thing. So, yeah, that's just important. I wouldn't replace Reece James, so that's key information. Don't transfer out Reece James. Definitely hold on to him. Not worth transferring out. He's going to be back shortly. So, yeah. Do you have predicted points? Yeah, just let me know who you want to see. Jesus or Cancelo captain? Both very good picks actually. Maybe Jesus. I think he could potentially haul again like he did against Leicester, against Aston Villa. Potentially put up a double-digit game. Reece James has difficult fixtures. I beg to differ. West Ham at home is a great fixture. He should be back for that. They've just scored 1 goal all season. Fulham away, decent fixture. Liverpool at home, yep, that's a difficult fixture. Otherwise, Palace, Wolves, Villa, Brentford, all solid fixtures. So I mean, Chelsea have one of the best extended fixed runs out of any team. Like, it's a sensational extended fixed run. Andreas for Saliba. I'd be obviously I prefer Saliba, yeah. Harrison's predicted points. Let's have a look. Jack Harrison this week 4.3. They expect him to do well, so yeah, 4.3 game week 5 and then 5 game week 7. So that's just obviously a rough estimation, not exact. So maybe chips in with an assist, gets a 5-pointer this week, something like that. Sterling in place of Santos. I think that's a good move. Yeah, free up some money. Son underlying stats don't match up with the his price tag right now. And Sterling's in some decent touch. Maybe you can monitor him a little bit more, but yeah, one to look out for. Chelsea got great fixtures for sure. Reece James will start. I don't think he's going to start, but he's just sitting in the team right now. He's definitely going to be back for game week 6. So overall rank, we are 1.7 right now. 247 overall points. We're 15 points behind 350k, so obviously it just shows how close it is right now. The thing that killed us last week, really just going over that really quickly, was Saka was in the midfield and Diaz was the one that hauled, not Saka. And Bailey, we played him. We thought we'd get a start. In hindsight, not a great decision. That cost us. But I think the changes that we've made this week, we've saved out the 2 free transfers. No hits have been taken to get this team this week. I think it's a strong team. Even without Reece James playing, the bench depth is good enough with Trippier and Patterson. Just still, chipping with a 1 or 2 pointer, that's not the end of the world. And he should be back for game week 6 anyway. And I'm happy with Gross and Rodrigo in that team. Very happy with them. Otherwise, yeah, happy with Mo Salah and captain. And everything else is not too bad. Obviously, starting Andreas Pereira is not ideal, but obviously after this game week, Trippier should be back to a decent amount of fitness, and he's got Crystal Palace at home. He can come on for Andreas Pereira back to a 4-4-2. We're looking good. Who's the best goalkeeper, 5 mil or less? Definitely Sanchez right now. I'd say number 1 Sanchez, number 2 Raya for me. And then, maybe Ramsdale at 5. Dean Henderson, he scored well, but his points have literally come from 2 penalty saves. So, it looks like he's an elite goalkeeping option. 30 points in 4 weeks is ridiculous. But, he had 14 in game week 2 from a pen save and another 9 in game week 4 from a pen save. He's got a 1 clean sheet this season, to be fair, but they have a very high expected goals conceded Nottingham Forest, so definitely more of a save points kind of keeper. Similar to Raya in a sense, actually, so picked up a lot of save bonus so far. One to consider, but I think he's just got 2 pen saves, which have really inflated his points a lot. Predicted points. Gross is predicted 5, so fixed typically don't give much away with the predicted points. I mean, 5, I'd take 5 from Gross if he scored 5 this week. Chip in with an assist, not going to complain. For a player of 5.8 mil, I can't expect him to continue the massive point scoring that he's getting. Like 2 double-digit returns already for a player of his price is exceptional. So I'm happy if you can just chip in with an assist every game week. That'd be awesome. Even if he's getting a return every 2 games, that's still fine for a player of his price. So definitely for the returns he's gotten so far, one of the best points per million players in the game. Superb value right now. Should I get Sanchez even if I have Dunk? That's another thing to take into consideration. Maybe at that point, to reduce that risk of the double up and Brighton defense, you can go Raya instead. But I think Brighton's fixture run's that good that you can maybe pull it off. And, if they've got a bad week, you can always bench Dunk, and still happy to play Sanchez as the goalkeeper. Jeff, thanks, bro, really helpful. All good, man. Is Reece James starting? I don't think he's going to start, but he's currently listed in our starting lineup. By the off chance he does play, he's there. Otherwise, the bench is like that. And Reece James is said to be a precautionary measure, so I'm guessing that means he should be good to go for game week 6. Looking at Reece James news, looks like Reece James is going to miss. Yeah, so it's confirmed Reece James is going to miss game week 5. There you go. And then what's his next fixture he's got? So his expected return date is the 3rd of September, so he'll be back for game week 6. So that's according to a Chelsea fan account. So it looks to be just 1 week from an illness he's going to miss and be back for game week 6. That's the final verdict. Jesus, Gundogan, Sterling captaincy. 3 very good options, honestly. Maybe just Jesus, but 3 very good options. Haaland to Kane. I don't think the transfer is worth it. I still think Haaland is one to hold on to, even though he may get benched this week. He's probably going to start the next 1 or 2 games at least, and then you can maybe move him on after that. But when he plays, Haaland is so effective. Should I do Gordon to Gross and Ward to Iverson? 2 free transfers. I wouldn't be doing Ward to Iverson. I think that's just not a necessary transfer. Should I bring on Andreas for Reece James? Yep, that's fine. That's fine by me. De Silva or Andreas? Andreas Pereira for sure. Should I take out Foden? It's a chance to start this week. He's one that I probably would, he's probably one that I would definitely be looking to get rid of because, even when he plays, there's just options that are better at his price. So, Kulusevski or Rodrigo. A Chelsea defender is essential. Well, clearly Reece James is not essential this week, but I think they've got a great extended fixture run. So, whilst not essential, I wouldn't say they're essential, but handy assets to have. Trippier or Saliba, not just for this game week. If it's not just for this game week, I honestly prefer Trippier. Good run of fixtures after this. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford. Actually, arguably the best fixtures from a defensive standpoint. From game week 7 to 10 there. West Ham, 1 goal scored. Then 2 out of the 3 promoted teams. Then Brentford at home. That's a great fixture run. And Trippier, he's on corners, he's on free kicks, he's been making a lot of attempted assists, attempted the most assists for Newcastle. Should I bring on Andreas for Reece James? Yes, I guess so. Reece James is confirmed out. So, I don't see the issue with that. We've got Trippier there. It doesn't really matter if you've got Reece James starting because he's not going to play, so you're just going to get the first bench option coming on anyway. That's all good. That's pretty much all we've got time for today. It's getting pretty late where we are right now. It's 1:30 a.m. in Australia right now. So, it's been a solid 2-hour stream. Thanks to everyone that has tuned in. If we can't get to your questions, we'll answer a couple more questions to end the stream. If we can't get to your questions on the stream, of course, always send us a message on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll try and get back to you. Look out for plenty of content coming up. There's going to be lots coming up. Knee Jerk's going to be tomorrow. A Knee Jerk reaction. Looking at the most popular transfers for this week. After the first batch of games, there's a decent batch tonight. I believe 4 tonight. And then there's going to be 6 other ones across the next few days. We'll be looking at buy, hold, sell after Thursday's games. There'll just be one more match on the Friday. And then, of course, into the weekend's games. Liverpool, first match of the round against Everton. So yeah, plenty of content coming up. Also, side note, we're going to be doing some Champions League fantasy content. So if anyone's interested in some Champions League fantasy, definitely look out for our Game Week 1 team selection for that. Otherwise, yeah, Game Week 6 content. We'll chuck out a knee jerk, chuck out a buy, hold, sell, chuck out a team selection. Ari, I can see you're chucking the question a lot, mate. What about Cucurella for Trippier this week? Because selling Reece James for Dunk, budget issue to fit in gross. I wouldn't sell Reece James. Yeah, that's for sure. I definitely would not sell Reece James. Cucurella for Trippier this week. I mean, yeah, it's not a bad transfer. If you're looking for a wild card game week 8, 9, you know, maybe it's not a bad move. I think Cucurella is probably going to get benched soon, or start getting rotated soon outside of this game week, when Chilwell should have built up enough fitness, and, you know, Cucurella is obviously going to have a high, you know, game load after this week. He's going to be playing a lot of games. Reece James and Archer out for Saliba, Duncan, Tony. Saliba or Duncan, Tony. I wouldn't sell Reece James. He's going to be back for game week 6, lads. It's just an illness. Wouldn't be too fast. He's going to miss this week. Unlucky, but too good of an option to get rid of when he's going to just be back in 1 week. Should I sub Son out? If you mean like transfer out of the team, I think he's a solid transfer out of the team. West Ham away is not a bad fixture. I mean, you can maybe hold on to him for the next 2. Tottenham have got some okay fixtures in the next 2. I'll just double check that for you. West Ham, Fulham, maybe hold him for those 2 and then get rid of him. Man City, Leicester, Arsenal, Brighton. You can get rid of him for that batch of fixtures. But yeah, definitely a frustrating one so far, that's for sure. Anyway, thanks so much for everyone that has tuned into the stream. It's been a great stream today. I've really appreciated all the support from everyone's given. And as always, best of luck for Game Week 5. Hopefully it goes well for everyone, and not too many players, you know, get benched from the squad. Also, thank you so much for everyone that has helped us hit 10k on stream. That is absolutely massive. Huge achievement. That's so sick to hit that on stream. Thank you so much for everyone that has tuned in. Vote on the poll, commented. It all means so much. Yeah, man, it's been such a sick journey to get to 10k. It's so hard to hit it on live on stream. That's so sick. Anyway, look out for plenty of content coming your guys' way very shortly. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.